Hey everybody, so as you can see from the title of this video, I've actually been really dreading making this video. It's just been really hard for me to talk about and process. I was pregnant, and on November 3rd, which was last Tuesday, I woke up, I went to the bathroom before work, and I noticed that I had some bleeding. So I actually work for my OBGYN's office, and so when I went into work, I talked to one of the nurses there, and I said, hey, I'm having some bleeding and a little bit of cramping. I'm pretty sure I'm having a miscarriage. And because I have a history of ectopic pregnancies, I've had 2 before, they wanted to do an ultrasound. And when they did the ultrasound, I was supposed to be 5 weeks and 5 days pregnant at that time, which by then you should be able to see at least a little sac, and they couldn't see anything in there. So we did stat HCG quants. So we just did my HCG levels to make sure, or to see where they're at. It came back as 225. So when they're kind of that low, it's either that I'm kind of over the hump of the miscarriage and my numbers will go down on its own, or that I'm still really early, which, because I was tracking my cycle and my ovulation very vigilantly, I don't think that was the case. Or it could be an ectopic, but it's kind of unknown at this point. And so I had to get repeat HCG quants done in 2 days. That's supposed to be Thursday. So I came home Tuesday night, and I started having some really sharp pains around 6 p.m. Now, I also had pains kind of in my butt. So I thought they were gas pains. So I kind of just waited it out, and I put the kids to bed. Once it was about midnight, I was already in bed. I could not get comfortable. Anytime I turned or moved or walked or took a step, I still felt that really sharp pain. My husband works overnight, so I texted him and I told him that I was in pain and I was thinking about going to the ER, but I didn't want to go to the ER, and they told me that it was gas pains. So he told me to take a Tums and see what that does. We didn't have any Tums, so I told him I'd just wait 30 minutes before deciding to go or not. And so at that time, I decided to go to the ER. Thankfully, my brother-in-law is with us right now, and so I just had the girls stay here, and I drove myself to the ER. And when I was in the ER, I told them what my quants were. They did repeat quants there, and I was kind of just waiting. They gave me some pain medication, which helped, and they needed to do an ultrasound, but because it was so late, they had an ultrasound tech that was on call, so I had to wait for the tech to come to the hospital to get an ultrasound. And when they told me my HCG results, it went up to 230 from 225. And when it goes up just a little bit like that, I just knew it was another ectopic because I had 2 prior before. And this was about probably 5:30 in the morning. My husband got to the hospital around that time too, and we waited till about 5:45, almost 6 a.m. to do the ultrasound. Now, we did the ultrasound. Of course, they don't tell you anything from the tech, doesn't tell you any of the results from the ultrasound itself. So we got back to the room, and the ER doctor came back in, and he told me that they did not see a pregnancy in the uterus, which I already knew that because I had an ultrasound done in my doctor's office. And after that, he told me that there was some free fluid in my belly, so that means there's some blood in my stomach, and that he was trying to contact my doctor. So my doctor ended up coming around 7:30 in the morning and kind of gave me my options. Now, normally, one of the things that you can do when you have an ectopic pregnancy is they give you an injection called methotrexate, and that should dissolve the baby and kind of, get your levels and everything back down to 0. But because I'm already bleeding, that could mean my tube had ruptured, or God knows what. So we scheduled the surgery the same day at 12 at around noon, because it wasn't emergent to where I had to go in right then and there, but definitely not to wait a day or two. So he did the surgery, and he was able to save the tube, thank God, because that was one of the concerns, was if my tube did not burst already and there was an ectopic pregnancy in my tube, then he would have to, you know, kind of scrape it out or get it out some way, and that would cause scar tissue. And usually when there's scar tissue, that means your tube is done for. The egg can't get past it anymore. So that was my biggest fear, was I was just thinking I won't be able to have kids naturally anymore. My doctor did tell me that I can go in the route of doing like IVF, but it's like $20,000, you know, and I don't have that kind of money laying around. So it was really heartbreaking, because we were finally ready for a baby and we were trying, and I was so confident that it was a viable pregnancy. The reason why I was so confident was because my last 2 ectopic pregnancies, you couldn't get a positive pregnancy test, or I couldn't get a positive pregnancy test until at least 2 weeks after I missed my period. And I was taking tests, and I even got my blood drawn and nothing. And so when I got it on 10 days past ovulation, like with Adeline, I was so for sure that this was a viable pregnancy. And that just goes to show that every ectopic is different. And yeah, so he was able to save the tube. He did find a teratoma on my right ovary, which is basically a dermoid cyst. If you don't know what a dermoid cyst is, I'll let you Google that on your own, because it's kind of gross. But he found one of those, got rid of that. He was able to save the tube. He did not see an ectopic pregnancy in my tube itself. He just thinks that it probably like tried to get rid of it on its own. So he kind of cleaned me up there. So I still have my tube, which is amazing. I had all the prayers from my friends and family, which was really nice. And the surgery was over. I ended up going home getting discharged around 6:30 or 7 p.m. Thankfully my sister came down from Denver, and she was able to stay with the girls the entire time, and she stayed with me until about Saturday to help watch the kids and everything, just because I couldn't do a lot. So I had the company of my sister, my dad, and my 2 best friends, Marilyn and Nika. They actually came down on Saturday and kept me company throughout the day. So it was really nice that I was just busy, and I was just surrounded by people who I loved and cared about. Came back to work on Monday. I just need to keep myself busy. Everyone keeps asking me how I'm doing, and honestly, like, I don't really know. Like, I don't want to say like, oh, like I'm fine, you know, I've had 2 before, so this is my 3rd one, you know, like not a big deal, because it is a big deal, but I have had a few before, and I just don't know how to process it. I think I don't want to process it, because I lost a baby and had another ectopic. And it's just scary to think that whenever we're ready to try again, that if I have another ectopic pregnancy, like I'm pretty sure my tube is done for. Like, and that's a scary thought. I've always been a person that's wanted lots of kids. 4. I've always said since I was a kid, all I want to do is be a mom. When I have 4 kids, I want to be a mom. And everyone keeps telling me I should be grateful that I have 2 kids. And I am. I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed to have 2, but that doesn't mean I can't feel sad or scared that I won't be able to have any more kids naturally. So unfortunately, I am not pregnant anymore. I did have another ectopic pregnancy, miscarriage, call it what you want to call it. And as of right now, I don't really know if I want to try right away. My husband did say he wants to try, you know, give my body a few months and, you know, maybe try at the beginning of the year, but I I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I'm really emotionally ready for that. My God. I'm really trying hard not to cry. Yeah, I just, sorry, just, I really try not to think about it, you know. My friends check up on me, which is really nice. I just really try not to think about it and just keep myself busy, work, come home, take care of my husband and kids, and do it all over again. So thank you guys so much for all your like congratulations and everything, but I'm not pregnant anymore, which is, I keep trying to tell myself that, like, I'm not pregnant anymore, and I think that's it for now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see what we do from here. Bye.